All right, on this Gun Talk Hunt, we're learning about sporting dogs, what's happening at the DUX Expo with Purina's Karl Gunzer, all right here.
Hey, I'm KJ, dedicated lifelong hunter here. If you got an interest in all things hunting, you're in the right spot. Whether chasing quail across the plains of Oklahoma or in pursuit of elk in the backcountry of British Columbia, you'll always find me on the hunt.
Welcome in, Gun Talk Hunters. I'm your host, KJ, and we are back for another episode. I know you guys look forward to this every week, but this episode is brought to you by Ruger. Go check them out, Ruger.com, and Range Ready Studios. If you need training, and sometimes you only get one shot, so you might as well make it count. Come on over to Range Ready Studios, rangereadystudios.com. Today, you know what? I have had a GSP for a while, and I've been hunting more birds this year than I have in recent years. And I've got the man from Purina on, Mr. Karl Gunzer. Karl, how you doing?
I'm good, KJ. How are you?
Good. I'm doing really good, man. It's been fun. Been hunting a lot more birds this year. And some of them range from free flight birds to cage birds, but all in all, it's been a really good year for me.
Yeah, good. It was a good year. Duck numbers were pretty good. Bird numbers were pretty good. A little rough on the pheasants in North Dakota, but I got out a few times with some German short hairs, labs, and a bunch of different breeds.
Yeah, I've got it. And he missed his calling. The dog is a professional moron. But he's high energy, man. And like most GSPs are, but I transitioned him over into a shed hunting dog. And I think he probably would have been a really good birder. I've taken him out a couple of times and he's done naturally. And these dogs are bred for this, right?
Yep.
But he's naturally a very gifted pointer, but man, he finds so many sheds that I can't find. It's kind of
Awesome.
nice.
Yeah, you bet. That's fun.
So Karl, give us an idea of what you do over at Purina and what you guys are up to lately.
Yeah. So I am the director of our sporting dog group. So Purina sponsors, probably 400 different sporting dog events a year that we attend. Plus we have sponsorships with different sporting organizations like the German Short-Haired Pointer Club of America, from versatile dogs to retrievers, coonhounds, beagles. And so we sponsor different organizations and groups and different events. So me and my team attend these events and help promote sporting dogs.
And I'm telling you, that's what I feed my dog Purina Pro Plan is what I've got him on. And he's been on that since he was a pup. So good stuff. And especially for very athletic breeds, it seems that high energy, walk us through that and how do you select what you feed your dog? Because that's really important. Digestive systems, and especially for those high energy breeds, becomes more and more important throughout their life.
Sure. And the first thing you said is they burn a lot of calories, so they need a nutrient dense food. They got to have good levels of protein, fat, and calories. Dogs burn fat as their fuel in the gas tank, right? So a higher fat formula gives more endurance, helps them stay in shape better, more calories, so they operate better on a higher fat than they do a higher carbohydrate. And of course the protein helps build muscles. So, Pro Plan came out in like 86, 87. It was launched, and it was one of the first brands to use real meat as a first ingredient. And it became a kind of a high protein, high fat, nutrient dense food. And so, that's what lots of the different competitors that, train for a living are feeding their dogs. And that's sort of how I ended up at Purina. So I trained field trial retrievers for a living for 20 some years. And, I got to know the people at Purina because they sponsored events and I would see them at the national and different events. And so when I came to work there, I figured out I had fed over 100 tons of Pro Plan in my life.
Oh my God.
So I know a little bit about it. So
That's a lot.
I know, right?
What are you seeing as far as like trends in the sporting dog world? Because I know since you're in it, because it seems like field trials, that used to be a big thing. And is there anything that's coming up that's like really big?
You know, it all across the board, sporting dog events have been growing. So you see more and more people, and COVID was a huge boost to that, right? I mean, people were looking for something to do with their dog, so they started buying dogs, training dogs, and in the last couple years, you know, the whole dog population has grown as well as participation in sporting dog events. So it's kind of good news. You know, that's a big thing that Purina really encourages people to do something with their dogs, to be active, and it helps the dog, it helps us, you know, doing things with your dogs. If you've got dogs and you train and hunt and all that, you know how enjoyable that is for you and the dog.
Well, I just spent, yeah, man, I just spent a couple days down at Covey Rise in Georgia, and they're running English pointers, they're spaniels. I mean, they kind of run everything.
Right.
And it was amazing to see like the athleticism of those dogs. And anyone out there that's listening to this, who's ever worked over dogs, and especially good dogs, they know how enjoyable and how pleasurable the hunt is, because you end up spending more time watching the dog and how they hunt and how they set up, on different quail. And every dog kind of has its own characteristics on a point, or when they're honoring the point. It's kind of enjoyable to watch. And I don't know what your experience has been hunting over dogs, but I think hunting upland birds and quail, I think that's one of the more enjoyable things about it, is just watching dogs work.
Absolutely. I think, you know, that's kind of, I got into dog training because of hunting, and I enjoyed, you know, I kind of grew up hunting and fishing and loved waterfowl hunting, bird hunting, everything. And then by the time I went to start training, I really pretty much quit hunting for almost 20 years. I just trained dogs, and that was the enjoyment, right? It's not about shooting the bird. It's about, you know, finding them, the point, the retrieve and the
Yeah.
retrievers, the competition, and they make the whole experience so much better.
Well, I mean, speaking about trainers, I mean, I guess we could jump in on this target, because, finding a good trainer sometimes is a little difficult. Your style has to blend well. The dog has to really respond to them. Do you have any tips for guys out there who just got a new puppy? God bless their souls. Do you have any tips on what to look for in a good trainer?
Yeah, so a couple things, but I think everybody should go meet with their trainer. You know, it's one thing to have a great social media site, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever, and there are certainly great trainers that have great social media presences, but there's also a lot of great trainers that don't even have a social media site, hardly, right? And so I think proximity to you and the dog, because even if you send the dog away and it's trained perfectly, you're not going to know how to handle the dog when you get it back. So it's got to be close enough that you can go and spend some time working with the person, learning, taking lessons. I would encourage everybody, before you put a dog in training, go visit their facilities, go look around, make sure they meet your standards. You know, everybody has a different standard of care for your dog, you know, and we don't see, it's gotten to where most dogs live in the house or have pretty good accommodations anymore, and training facilities have changed to accommodate that. But yeah, I think proximity, watching that person's style, making sure it meshes with you and you consider it acceptable. You know, some people like electronic collars, some people don't like electronic collars, and you need to find somebody that trains with a way that you want to do it.
That's a good point, because I've found a great trainer. God bless him. He is horrible on the website. He is horrible on the website. He just doesn't. That's not his game. His game is dogs. Like that's it. And you can only expect so much. But again, like Southern Oak Kennels or something like that, they do a fantastic. They have a great online presence. They also do the other really well. But man, he just didn't do really well. And initially, if that's what you're looking for, if that's your barrier to like, okay, I'm going to go meet him. If you hold them to just that website or just your initial contact, and you might be missing out on like a hidden gem, because I mean, he's got, I don't know, 15 or so trainers under him, and he has hands on with every dog, and it's very impressive operation.
Cool.
But and it worked for us because he didn't have a big expansive. So we did obedience and shed training for
Mhm.
my dog. And I also wanted to ask, does Purina put steroids in their dog food?
No, no.
Okay, good. So mine's just my GSP is just a freak of nature.
Yeah, yeah,
I kid you not, he's sitting at like 77 pounds of pure muscle and is like
yeah.
he's as big as a horse. He's huge. I just had to
Wow.
ask.
Yeah, yeah. No.
But no, he is a monster. Um, but yeah, finding that one good trainer, and I was able to go because you said proximity. Be able to go, once every 2 or 3 weeks just to check in, just to see how his progress is. I would probably recommend like requesting that your trainer send you updated videos, like see the progress and see what they're working on that week. So, because that will prompt you as an owner to go look and see what that is, see how to
Right.
maintain that training because the training doesn't stop once you pick them up, I believe,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right.
because you got to keep it going.
Yep. Yep. That's where most training fails is in the transition back to the owner. You know,
Yeah.
most trainers, if they're in business and all that, most of them are pretty good, some are better than others, obviously, but that's where you see a difference is if somebody can then take that training and teach the owner how to continue it and progress it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Well, I would have my boys. So we have a big kind of refuge back behind our house. So I would have the boys go out before my walk and I'd have them hiding antlers just wherever.
Yeah.
They wouldn't tell me how many they put out. They wouldn't tell me where they put them out. And then I would tell them, hey, go home, mark where they are in your mind, mark where they are and how many. Don't tell me. And so I would take
Right.
him out and we'd sit there and we'd just hunt. That's all we would do. And he missed two that I can think of,
Wow.
but it gives you, you're not sitting there placing them in front of the dog. The dog's not seeing you.
Yep.
So that was really helpful. And that got the boys involved, my sons involved in the training process, which I thought was just as big because it allowed them to take ownership and see that training does work.
Well, and it's really beneficial that you don't know where they are because if you do, you tend to want to handle the dog into it. I mean, the dog
Yeah.
cues off of you and yeah, so it's great that it's unknown.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to jump in here. We're going to have a quick word from our sponsors. But on the other side of this, there's a big event happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that we've got to talk about. And your Purina is going to be there. And they've got a lot of events that we all can learn from. So after this break, let's talk about the DUX Expo. Do you find yourself missing a lot of shots lately? Do you find yourself a member of the Low and Left Society? Well, we have something for you. It's at rangereadystudios.com, and it is training. Yes, you need it. I need it. We all need it. We will become better shots together because you know what? I take these classes too. Chris Serino on the range is absolutely phenomenal. We've got a lot of classes coming up. We've got ladies only pistol. That's a big one. We've got the first person defender experience. We've got a semi-auto class coming up. So jump in today to learn more at rangereadystudios.com. And Ruger SFAR. This is a small frame AR-10. That's what it is. And why is it so important is because, one, it's an AR-10. It's light. It's under 7 pounds in a 308 package. That's huge. So if you're going out, what I would recommend is I would recommend setting it up with either an ATN, an Armasight, a Steiner, something of the night vision class. Okay. And we're going to take this out. We're going to go take care of our hog problem because we got it. We got it all over the South. Everyone needs to take care of the hog problem. We all can help and we all can start by shooting a Ruger SFAR. Go find out more at Ruger.com. All right, we're back with Karl Gunzer of Purina, and he's the director of the sporting dog group over there. And you got a big event coming up, and it's happening, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it's the DUX Expo. Can you give us a little insight on that?
Yeah, you bet. So this is the third year of the DUX Unlimited. They call it DUX or DU Expo, and it's sort of a outdoor try before you buy kind of event. So they have ranges where they have live shooting. You can shoot, shotguns, rifles. They have shooting demonstrations. And then they have different villages. Purina, of course, is sort of the anchor of the dog village. So we will have different dog training events and seminars taking place. There's, if you want to check out four-wheelers, boats, fishing, I mean, it's everything outdoors. And at that, held at the Texas Motor Speedway, it's a huge venue. I mean, like, you have to tram around to different sites almost. You can't walk it. It's, you see those racetracks, unless you've ever been in one, how huge a footprint they are.
Yeah.
So there's lots. I mean, don't go and say, well, like some of the outdoor shows you go to, you say, I'll go there 4 hours and check it out. 4 hours is not
take a while,
right? Yeah. Yeah. So they have, it's really a fun event. This is the third year, and we're the presenting sponsor. And this is the first year we're bringing the Incredible Dog Challenge to DUX Expo.
What is that?
That's it's a competition that incorporates lots of different dog activities. It's a nationally televised event. It's in syndication. It runs throughout the year. They do frisbee, like flying disc demonstrations. Right. They do agility, weave poles, Jack Terrier hurdle races. It's just lots of fun, different competitions. And people come from all over the country to compete at this. It's kind of a by invitation event. Friday is the practice and qualifiers, and then Saturday is the actual competition. So it's a big televised event. Oh, yeah. And they have the different dock diving events. This was sort of the beginning of the dock diving phenomenon with the distance retrieve and the height retrieve in dock jumping.
That is really, I mean, if you haven't seen them, the dock jumping is incredible. And it's dogs of all breeds, whippets, and you got,
that's right.
I mean, all the sporting dog breeds, but man, those whippets just get going so fast, and they're like little laser beams. But no, if you guys haven't witnessed that, this is a great opportunity to go do that. And that's happening May 5th through the 7th. So roughly a week after you're hearing this, you need to start booking your hotels, and you need to go spend a couple of days there, because there's way too much stuff to list. But what's also cool about it is there's professionals on site, and you can go into the Purina. I think you guys have your own massive tent, right?
That's right. Yeah. We'll have a big booth with, people that can talk about dog food. We'll have veterinarians there. We'll have, some different trainers there. Mike Stewart of Wild Rose will be there. He'll be there throughout the weekend, but the Wild Rose team will be doing demonstrations like Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and all day Sunday. Sunday we have some border collie herding demonstrations as well, and that's a lot of fun. A guy named Chad Collins, the Quack Pack, and he comes and
what a great name.
Like 3 border collies, and he herds ducks around, and it's pretty amazing what he can get these border collies to do.
Well, that's what they're bred to do, man. Yeah. And that's what amazes me about, I mean, really, any dog that's out there that are doing these events, I mean, they're bred to be athletic. They're bred to be performance-based, workers. I mean, that's when I see a dog at its best, is when it has a job to do.
That's right.
None of this little teacup poodle thing you got that just barks when the mailman appears.
Right.
I'm sorry. And I know there's 2 of them in my house right now, and I can't get rid of them. There's just no way I can get rid of them. I try and I try. I leave the gate open thinking I'll go down by the pond and here comes a gator. No, I don't really do that, but the thought has crossed my mind. But yeah, the DUX Expo, and you guys have been sponsoring this for the last 3 years.
That's right. This is the 3rd year. It was originally it was going to be in the first one got canceled because of COVID, or pushed back a year, I should say. So this is the 3rd year, and it's just gotten bigger and better each year,
and you can bring your dogs to the event. Just be prepared to clean up after them. Be prepared. Don't be like me going to the park and just praying my dog doesn't use the restroom all over the place and not having nothing to clean it up with. But yeah, you can shoot, like there's a shooting range on the Texas Motor Speedway that they set up, which is nuts to me because it's in town. It's right there,
Right.
like in the Fort Worth area. So that to me is kind of like, come on.
Yeah.
But they do it in an extremely safe manner.
Yep.
It's a family friendly event. Like bring the family, bring the kids. They're going to love seeing these dogs work.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said, bring the dogs. We'll have samples, of course, and different treats at our booth. The only thing to be careful of, if it's super hot out, if it's real sunny and hot, there's a lot of asphalt there. And if that asphalt is in the sun and gets hot, it can be tough on dogs' feet, especially a dog that's not acclimated to it.
So you would recommend like some like boots for them, something like that?
Yeah, and the first year that they had it, it was super hot, and most people, just if it's going to be 90 and above, it's just not fun for the dog, right? But there were people with boots on their dogs, just being cautious.
I swear that's always the funniest videos for me to watch on dogs is people putting boots on their dogs the very first time. It is amazing.
Yeah,
I would buy boots just to watch my dog run around like an idiot. But man, what else? What's Purina got going on now? I mean, what else they've got going?
Well, we're kind of in the hot and heavy time of year for different dog trials. The bird dog trials are slowing down right now, but the retriever events, the national amateur is coming up in a couple months. The UKC Grand. So there's lots of events just every weekend, really.
You've got to be on the road too much, right?
Yes. Yeah. And then I've got some guys and gals that work with me that attend events for us too. So
well, that's awesome. Well, if you want to learn more about the DUX Expo, you can go to duxexpo.com to learn more. But about Purina and everything they're doing, Karl, where can they go?
There's two great places. Well, maybe three. PurinaProClub.com has a lot of information about sporting dog events. It highlights different trainers and individuals. So PurinaProClub.com, and anybody that either breeds dogs or has more than 5 dogs can become a member, and you save money. There's a rebate on your dog food. Just Purina.com, of course, takes you to all things Purina. But the best one about sporting dog nutrition is ProPlansport.com. And that takes you to the ProPlan Sport formulas.
Before I get off, just for my own knowledge base here, so I've got a 3-year-old GSP. Like I said, he's a monster, very active. What ProPlan should I be feeding him and why?
Because of his activity level and just sort of knowing the breed, that ProPlan Sport Performance, that's the 30% protein, 20% fat. That is what like 90% of the people that are competing with their dogs that are working them hard, that's what they're feeding. It's one of the most nutrient dense formulas of any pet food. So you don't have to feed as much. It's a lot less cleanup. The dogs, do better on it. That's my go-to recommendation for people with active.
Perfect. All right. I'm already there. So
there you go.
I'm one step ahead.
Perfect.
All right, Karl. Well, I sure do appreciate you taking some time out to talk with us today. And man, we'll check back in and see how your season goes.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I look forward to meeting you there at the DU Expo. And thanks again, KJ.
Sounds good, man. All right, gun talkers, you know the drill. You keep those muzzles pointed in a safe direction and always be on the hunt.
To see all of Gun Talk's content, go to guntalk.com, guntalktv.com, or sign up for the Gun Talk newsletter.